According to Dutch cybersecurity firm Surfshark VPN, India had the second highest number of data breaches in the first half of 2022. And on Friday, a Ukrainian cybersecurity researcher claimed that sensitive personal data of 280 million Indian citizens allegedly from the Employees Provident Fund Organization database surfaced online. Each record allegedly included personal information like full name, nominee details, marital status, address, bank account numbers, Aadhaar details, income levels, etc. India currently lacks a sound legislation for data protection. After 5 years in the making, the bill that was designed to protect the privacy of Indians, the Personal Data Protection Bill 2019, was withdrawn by the government on Wednesday. The government is sure to table a new bill soon. A committee led by former Supreme Court Justice B.N. Sri Krishna, constituted in August 2017, submitted the draft PDP Bill 2018 the following year. On December 11, 2019, the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology tabled the PDP Bill 2019 in Lok Sabha. That same day, it was referred to a joint parliamentary committee, which tabled its report 2 years later, on December 16, 2021. IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnav said the bill was withdrawn because the panel suggested 81 amendments and 12 major recommendations. The bill had alarmed big technology companies like Meta and Google, who feared it could increase their compliance burden, data storage requirements, and restrict cross-border flow of data. As the bill provided large exemptions to government departments, several privacy advocates said it would allow agencies to abuse access to data. The parliamentary panel also said that non-personal data should be included in the purview of the bill, which originally focused only on individual privacy, in tune with the 2017 Supreme Court verdict that held right to privacy as a fundamental right.
The move to withdraw has left many of us perplexed. The efforts to bring about a data protection framework in India started somewhere in 2011, the Personal Data Protection Bill. That dates back to 2017. We finally get the JPC report, and along with it, the draft. There is no denying that the bill was imperfect. But the question is, was it the imperfections that motivated the government to withdraw the bill? And if so, to what extent is it justified? The ministry has voiced that it would rather bring out a delayed bill that can adequately address the rapidly evolving technological landscapes in India than rush an inadequate one. The 2021 DPB bill has been a result of almost 4 years of deliberation, several inputs and comments provided by stakeholders, a committee that published a report almost after 78 sittings, and which also included dissent notes. So all of this labor and effort, which should have ideally taken us forward, has somehow brought us back to square one. The fears of the government that bringing an imperfect bill could lead to bad privacy practices being adopted. But we also have to remember that we have a very strong institutional mechanisms for checks and balances. We have judicial oversight, we have parliamentary amendments, we have debates in the parliament. There can be a very transparent and open conversation around this.
The delay has consequences for Indian consumers and companies alike.
Unfortunately, since there is no obligation on companies with regard to data protection as such, and there are no procedures laid down, there are no regulatory requirements, there is no penalties. So they are the ultimate sufferers. Their data is being stolen, sold, and breaches are happening almost day in, day out. My understanding is that the government initially wanted to just cover personal data. Then subsequently, they wanted to bring non-personal data also within the ambit of the proposed legislation. I think now they realize that they could not bring in a piecemeal legislation which would be hurriedly pushed with some basic provisions with recovering non-personal data, because the government has very long-term plans in terms of trying to use that as a community resource and monetize it as a national resource. So in my opinion, I think the government is now going to bring two separate bills, one to cover personal data and the other to cover non-personal data. We never know, it could take another 2-3 years for the bill to get passed. There is no timeline that has been provided by the government. The other aspect is the international aspect, because IT industry, the call center industry, the back office services industries, these sectors are completely dependent on international perception. India for almost 10-15 years has been negotiating to get a data safe country status from the EU. We are moving towards a situation where almost all countries have their own laws and they are following the EU GDPR model, and the requirements in each of these jurisdictions obligate that either our companies directly comply with their legislations if they're providing services to their customers, or India has a equally robust privacy legislation. Overall, in that sense, industry loses both in terms of the compliance cost, in terms of the general perception internationally, also in terms of the ambiguity which still remains after all these years.
The government says it is working on a comprehensive legal framework after considering the parliamentary panel's report. Meanwhile, the Internet Freedom Foundation has argued that the existing legal vacuum on data protection is an infringement of the fundamental right to privacy. Whether or not the new bill addresses the existing concerns raised by companies and privacy advocates, the wait for a personal data protection law in India gets longer.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.
सब अच्छी दिख रही हैं यार, कौन सी खरीदूं?
ये तो वही बात हुई, 4000 शेयर्स लिस्टेड है, कौन सा लूं?
वो तो सबसे आसान है।
तुझे 5 पैसा नहीं पता?
अब तो सबको पता है। 5 पैसा पर है 4000 स्टॉक्स की रिसर्च, टेक्निकल टूल्स और इन्वेस्टमेंट आइडियाज। डाउनलोड 5 पैसा नाउ।
अब तो सबको पता है, investing made easy and rewarding with 5 paisa. Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.